Well, since most of you are unable to play on Teak due to being at full capacity, I guess we will start the level 30 through 40 guide instead of playing on Teak, or at least I will. It's kind of surprising they didn't just make a double Teak, or like what they did with Mischief and what was it, Thornblade. They launched 2 of the identical random loot servers, because now we're stuck dealing with Teak being max capacity. It's probably going to be max capacity for quite some time. Meanwhile, Tormax has like 350 players on it. I'm sure that number will increase, but so will the amount of people trying to get on Teak. And I think a lot of the players probably on Tormax are probably people that couldn't get on Teak that are just kind of waiting for the server population to die off. So while we sit and wait for that, I will go ahead and go through the level 30 through 40 zones. Some of these zones that you'll be going through coming up here will actually last into some of the 40s, but the way that this is laid out is starting with the minimum level for these camps or zones. These are in order of minimum level first, and then sometimes the range is just massive and might go for 10, 12, 13 levels. First on the list, Castle Mistmoore. Inside the castle, this is a huge camp, and if you run to the outer rooms inside here, there are a lot of mobs, 15 plus. This is one of the heavily camped areas. There is rare spawns in here, so this is going to be heavily camped, just like it is in Classic. And the second spot in Castle Mistmoore, again, ranges levels 29 through 34, is outside of the castle. There's a little cliff face and then a spot below in Castle Mistmoore here outside of the castle. You'll be able to also get probably 15 plus mobs in this highlighted area. The over there, Skyfire ramp. This is the old sit on the wall or sit on the ramp and pull to the ramp from the field. The mobs are beyond 15 plus here, levels 29 through 38. Watch out for dragoons. And then, of course, the over there on the south wall, you don't want to be too much in the southwest corner unless you're really afraid of dying. But if you are to sit mid-hill toward the Frontier Mountain pathway, you can pull a lot of things. Make sure you have long-range spells or a long-range bow on your polar, and you can pretty much train your group with a mob, pass it off at 50%, go out and pull again, or have a dedicated polar that keeps bringing stuff in for you, because the pulls do get kind of long. And Case Soria, the librarian, east side, very good spot with some rare mobs. This is off of the Field of Bone, levels 29 to 35. Ruins of Old Guk, aka Lower Guk, the Crusader camp. One of my favorite. A lot of people you'll see doing both Crusader and the King / Herbalist. But if you can bully your way in here or get to at least the Crusader camp, it makes for a decent experience. You will probably clear it and be waiting for respawn, so it is best to have both the camps, but that's not always the case. And you can start the Crusader camp at a lower level. The King area can get kind of iffy with the level 49 name spawning in there. So around level 40, you can pull both these camps en masse and keep them clear. And in case Sora, the Xalgas or Zalgas west side, this guy will be camped because he has a key piece, but it is a decent spot to level and decent rare loot. Off into the Dreadlands, these Yeti caves, make sure you do check my EverquestGuides.com actual listing, because some of the camps in here are 6 to 10, 11 to 15 mobs or 15 plus. Most of the Yeti caves are 6 to 10. So inside that cave, there's only 6 to 10 mobs. Great spot for duo, solo, or if you're under leveled. Maybe you come in here like right at 30, and that will give you some higher level mobs to kill. Frontier Mountains Goblin Cave, another great area, levels 31 to 40. The Wrath Mountains Hill Giants. This is going to be heavily camped just for plain old loot. And a lot of times you will see mage pets perma-camping this thing, or somebody AFK camping once they're higher level. Just great platinum all around. I am not sure with Kunark being released at the same time how packed this will be, but I'm guessing it's going to be packed regardless, levels 32 through 36. And back to the Dreadlands, the Giant Fort. I have a thing for farming giants when you can't get a rare spawn camp. I don't think that there are any named in there. There might be one in there, I'm not sure. Most giant camps are just good plat and then decent experience, not too heavily contested or heavily camped. Although with Teak being at max capacity, almost everything is probably going to be camped. Hopefully there's multiple picks because you do have Carter's Castle there and people pulling in that area. But giant forts are always a plus in the Kunark expansion. And back to the over there, if you feel like running through the pits outside of Hollow Stones, there are scorpions in here, levels 32 to 38. Lots of them. And I've never seen too many people farming this area before. But again, I've never seen an actual server start at Kunark. And back to Dreadlands, the Northwest Yeti Cave. Again, 6 to 10 mobs max. Levels 32 to 34. And Soul B, the Noble Camp. This is one of the camps that a lot of people tend to take when they can't clear the King Priest Room or it's camped. If you start at the entrance there and run around that bend, you're bound to get, I think, 6 to 10 mobs. You could get 10 to 15. Smaller camp, but you can also extend as far as you want into the caves to get as many mobs as you need. And Soul B, the Pool Room, levels 33 to 35. There's a decent amount of mobs up here. I think it's at least 11 to 15, if not 15 plus. This is where I normally would end up going when I don't feel like leaving Soul B, but all the other camps with named are taken. There are no named up here, just experience. And the City of Mist stables. Now, the City of Mist used to be entirely different before the revamp. There's a lot of different mob types in there now, but levels 33 through 49 are in this range, so do be careful. They do hit hard, but they have about half the health they used to have, so it kind of evens out. Great spot for damage shield leveling because the mobs die quickly if you can take the beatdown. And back to the Dreadlands, both the south and north side of Kunark's castle sitting against the wall. You can pull out into the field either way. There'll be a bunch of roaming mobs, some good field killing there. Levels 33 to 40. And back to the City of Mist, the entrance, levels 33 to 44. That's the downside of City of Mist is the massive level range in the mobs that you will pull, so do be careful. But starting at the entrance across the bridge and up the right ramp and the left ramp and out to the center little courtyard area there is the part of this camp. And the Burning Woods, if you are heading on your way to Chardock, or you're too low to do Chardock, or you want to get some extra experience where you're sitting outside Chardock looking for a group, these mobs outside of the Chardock entrance inside the little keep there are levels 33 through 40. Obviously not quite as high as Chardock, but a decent little spot that most people just run through and kind of ignore. And Soul B King Room, this is like the big daddy of classic, especially on random loot, bonus loot servers. There are 3 named. It's a small camp, 6 to 10 mobs, but if north and south aren't camped, you can get a lot of mobs to this area. However, people farm this just for the drops. And back to Lower Guck, we have the Assassin Camp. Now, this is normally perma camps because of the FBSS and other things that drop in that area, but all mobs around this level have a chance to drop FBSS. Still, I think this will be quite a frequented camp because it's a popular area. And the Frenzy Camp, also in Lower Guck, levels 34 through 43. Nice, another good spot. The Burning Woods, Northeast Crater. This is open field killing. Mobs can get spaced out, but there are a decent amount of mobs, levels 34 to 42. And then also the Giant Fort. There's 6 to 10 mobs inside the Giant Fort. There's one name that spawns, so you will get some loot. Just another quiet area to come to either solo or duo, or if you're starting at the level 35 range, bring a group out here and the mobs will be higher level for some experience. And Timorous Deep, the Spyrock Fort in the northwest quadrant, levels 35 to 41. Back to the Burning Woods, this is a Skeletal Ruins, and I think there's 11 to 15 mobs, levels 35 to 43. Staying in the Burning Woods, the southeast area by the Frontier Mountains, kind of funky with the hills, but there are some big giant wasps and other things that you can kind of pull to the wall just like you do in the over there, levels 35 to 41. In Lower Guck, the King Room, which is another good area because of the Herbalist and the King and the Tactician, 3 rare spawns in that area, levels 36 to 49. The King Room is tough to split, so you will need some CC, somebody higher level, some off tank, or a full group, or some fancy monk pulling, but just be careful because I think it's really hard, especially if you're not high enough level to not pull 5 mobs out of the room just by hitting the king. And to the City of Mist, this little temple in here that was revamped, you can sit inside the temple there and pull the stuff outside, level 36 to 49. And the City of Mist courtyard. So if the temple people aren't coming out and camping things, you can sit down on the south wall there and go into both these buildings here in this area. Decent little camp if you are struggling to find a spot to level. And then back to the Dreadlands, we have the Central Yeti Cave, levels 36 through 40, so a little bit higher, but also again, 6 to 10 mobs. And this pit actually has the Golerback, which is a rare spawn, so there is some loot here, levels 37 to 47. Mobs are spaced out. This is where you want to have the long range spells and the long range bows, but there are a good chunk of mobs here. And in the Dreadlands northeast section, the spiders, levels 37 to 40. I think there are 6 to 10 spiders in that area. Again, if the mainstream things are taken and you're looking for some solo duo experience, or you just want to run through as part of your travels, or pull from that camp even to the castle wall, it's a nice little spot with some silks. The Cyclops Island and Ocean of Tears, levels 38 to 42. I think you can get 15 plus Cyclops on that island. This will be heavily camped because of J boots, and it is just decent for platinum. And to the hole, the entrance area, all the way out to where the bridge is, I think you'll be able to get at least 11 to 15 mobs out here, ranging from levels 38 to 41. If you do go across the bridge and pull to that room, be careful because there is a golem there, which can range from levels 49 to 52. And then if you want to go a little bit further into the hole, these rats in the cells are levels 38 to 42. Be careful because if the name does spawn, he is a little bit higher. So if you're having problems handling just the basic rats, be really careful if you run into the named mob. And then back to Soul B, the bats and beetles in the south part of the zone. There are some named mobs in here, but I have done this one when the other camps were taken. I didn't feel like leaving, and it is a little bit higher level here, 38 to 44. So it was decent experience. And back to the City of Mist in front of that castle, level 38 to 52. These mobs can really hit hard and do some damage. And there are chances for, you can see in there, at least 3 Mighty Golem rare spawns. So you do have a chance at some loot, and it's a little bit higher level and a little less camp than I think some of the other areas will be. The Mines of Nurga, levels 38 to 43 from the entrance down south. And if you run around to the cave there and head to the southeast area, you'll have access to a few rares. And this zone also might be less frequented than some of the other zones. And that wraps it up for the level 30 to 40 section. The 40 to 50 section will be coming. You can go ahead and check out the other section of the guide, levels 20 to 30, in case you missed that. Or you can watch me kick the crap out of Venerable Sethir with a level 2 Paladin. I will be waiting in queue for quite some time, but I hope that you do get on.
We got P99, we got TLP, we got private servers and test that's free. Some of us pay, some of us don't, some of us play, some of us won't. Did you just break my mess? Did you just train me? Did you just miss a healing? Are you gonna rest me?